It's Tuesday. It's live. It can only be SCW's live Q&A. Back once again, answering your questions in the wrestling community. Been a busy few days of pro wrestling, particularly last night of Monday Night Raw. Finn Balor winning the United States Championship. We've got two heel turns in Damien Priest, of course, attacking Finn Balor after this match, as well as Edge attacking AJ Styles and doing the concerto as well. Lots of stuff to discuss and more. And good news, I'm not alone. I've got a first time properly on the channel. I've had a few little cameo appearances before, but for the first time we have full discussion, full answers from the one, the only Warren from Discus Lariat Collective. Warren, how are you doing, my good man?
Oh, good, yeah. Cheers for having me on.
It's great to have you on, honestly. I'm really pleased to have you here. And I mean, as I say, for everyone, get your questions in today. We're looking forward to discussing everything. But as I say, it's first proper time we've had you on the channel. So, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to learn a bit about you as well. So, when did your journey of wrestling begin?
So I started watching wrestling, would have been around 99. That's when I first started watching it. I think that's when around the time that Channel 4 over here in Ireland and in England, stuff like that, we started getting it. And I used to get tapes as well of WCW because, funny enough, that was how I first got into it. Tapes from WCW. That's my first interaction. Yeah. And I was just hooked straight off the bat. Just because obviously you don't believe it's fake. You're believing everything that's happening. So you're like, oh, this is amazing. These lads are killing each other, stuff like that. So I thought it was great off the bat. But kind of like had a lull then after a while around like, I'd say around maybe 07, 08, and then came back in around 2010, 2011. But I've loved it since pretty much 99 though.
Amazing. Amazing stuff indeed. And no, I'm really pleased to hear that. And I mean, would that first memory then be like NWO from WCW times, or was there like someone else that stood out to you that really captured you in?
The first thing I remember was a Sting video package thing that my friend recorded. He had like a few Sting matches he recorded over like a few weeks, few months, stuff like that. So Sting was the first person that stood out to me, the face paint and this, that, and the other. And then after that, then it would have been the likes of the NWO. Goldberg was another big one as well for me when I was a kid, just because he was running through everybody. Especially when you watch back like his whole streak, it was crazy. But and then when I started getting into WWF at the time, there was The Rock, Stone Cold, the kind of larger than life kind of characters, guys you see on the TV every day. Undertaker was another big one because it was like, wow, he's intimidating. He's a scary dude. So he was my guy.
Absolutely, yes. And great choice. I must admit, my early impressions with Sting as well. When the bleach blonde hair when I first started watching Sting, and he really stood out to me at the time. And like I say, going through the Crow and stuff, and obviously with Taker and that, like there's some great people to be inspired by. And obviously, like modern day wrestling now, obviously you said like 2010, 2011, you've been captured back in. Who have been the standouts to you over that sort of last decade? Then it's really made say, I can't leave this time.
Funny enough, as much as I used to slate John Cena and Orton and stuff like that, and even Triple H, because he kind of put me off it a bit around 2003 when he was like he just held the belt all year and stuff like that. But they were the guys that kind of brought me back into it because I remember seeing them with the likes of Orton and seeing the start around 2002 and stuff. And then around 2010, I was like, these boys are still going. I must get back onto this. Like, so them boys, Rey Mysterio, the fact he was still going, I was like, I was interested in that. But CM Punk as well, he's kind of like a legend. He's pretty much a legend nowadays, but he was the guy as well.
He was an absolute legend, CM Punk. I mean, I must admit, I was feeling a little bit of a lull around the period around 2010, 2011. And obviously the CM Punk, the pipe bomb happened. And from that point onwards, as soon as the pipe bomb happened, I was hooked forever, like ever since. And I've never really kind of turned away, even if there's been some lull moments since. The pipe bomb was always such a special moment. But we're going to just jump into the chat because we've got a couple of people that have come in for us. We've got KXI in houses. What's up, Spectacular? How are you doing? And very pleased that you were here with us today. We've got a few more in as well. We're going to get to those questions in a couple of seconds. But just before we do, obviously, Warren, you are from Dublin. You are from Ireland. We thought maybe we could start Paddy's Day early. We're watching Monday Night Raw. And, of course, Finn Balor winning the United States Championship. Was you a proud Irishman watching that?
Oh, big time. I like obviously it's on at crazy o'clock in the morning over here. So I was sitting there and I was watching. I was half asleep actually before that match started. And it came on and I honestly wasn't expecting him to beat Damien Priest last night. That I at first I was initially thinking Priest would go on a tear. He wouldn't lose at all. That was my initial thought. But then he picked up a few losses over the past few weeks, stuff like that. But when Finn Balor won the title, I was genuinely shocked. I was delighted, but I was actually shocked. And then the heel turn afterwards, I was like, that was a good way to finish it off, I think. But I'm delighted now. Finn Balor finally gets like his moment in the spotlight now again because he's kind of been on the fringe for a while now.
I would totally agree. I mean, I didn't expect Finn Balor to win it either. I thought it was going to be just another big name Priest would put away, and then we'd find out who Priest would face at WrestleMania, where it'd be, I don't want to say a bigger name, but someone perhaps on par with a Finn Balor, and then perhaps that person would get the rub either beating Damien Priest, or he would get an even bigger rub after WrestleMania. But the fact that Finn Balor won it for me, I was like, what a great change of pace! What a great feeling to see the United States, because Damien Priest held that belt for a long time, and I felt a little bit as well that. I've enjoyed Damien Priest as United States champion, but I had kind of felt this sort of like good and evil side of his character, which crept in, I think, from around Survivor Series, when he kind of started going more towards the heel and unsure where it was kind of going. I'd had a bit of a disconnect with that character. So the fact that we kind of got Finn Balor win the title, so we got a fresh, clean, Queen's squeaky babyface in that role, someone that's from close to our neck of the woods anyway, not quite my neck of the woods, but certainly close enough where you can sort of, take the mantelpiece and celebrate as well, and have a little bit of drink as celebration. But, obviously now we see, like you said, the complete story. We've got Damien Priest that's gone there. He's turned heel. He's now probably had a complete change of that direction of character, gone into the complete new direction with it. And we're going to go more into that in a couple of seconds because it's our first question here. Literally now we think we've got to set up a match, hopefully, for WrestleMania, the rematch. There's certainly a lot of interest already. So we'll go into that question then and get your thoughts immediately on it then. It's from Martin Career. Thank you for your question, Martin, and checking out the stream as well. He says, what are your feelings about Priest and Edge turning heel? Is it a really good fresh scenery? So let's start with Damien Priest then. Has that really tied in that storyline really, really well to go ahead now to get a rematch?
Yeah, I think so. Because as you said, Finn Balor being the complete kind of clean baby face, and now you're going to have Priest as like the monster kind of heel, and the fact like the size of him as well, that kind of heel turn would work for him. Do you know what I mean? And I think with the likes of Priest in NXT and stuff, he showed some great work. In Ring of Honor a few years back, he was doing the Punishment Martinez stuff, and he was great, but he wasn't as polished. And now I feel like he has this air of confidence. Do you know what I mean? And I think when he's working now with the likes of a really good babyface, like Balor is one of them guys that can work on any style, any orientation, heel or face. So I think with the likes of Priest now being a heel, I think this is going to be great going forward. I really do. If they're given the time, I think it'd be great.
I really agree with you personally. I think there's some good things on the way, and obviously Damien Priest. I wouldn't say necessarily like I said, it was the tweener stuff that was bugging me. It wasn't the babyface stuff. It was when he was like, he would just have this mad DQ spell go on with a lot of his matches. And they're like, where are you going with this? It's like, now we have someone. He's snapped. He's lost that title. He's now got a reason to try and go and win it back. You've got someone that's credible, that's won that championship as well. I don't think there's any harm in losing to a Finn Balor. He's the first ever Universal Champion as well. So this has done some good things. It's really made a fresh feud from the offset here. And I'm really looking forward to this because I think this will be the WrestleMania direction now.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly do. I think you could have these guys go at it now over the next few weeks, and like not even matches, just whether it's an interference in someone else's match or something like that to kind of keep the intrigue going, and then let them go, give them 15 minutes, 20 minutes at WrestleMania and tear the house down pretty much. Because I think it'll work perfect with the fact that like some people, as you said, when they're doing the tweener stuff, it kind of it takes you out of it. You're like, this isn't great. Like I think Seth Rollins is better as a heel, or better as like chasing the title, stuff like that. But then when he's a good guy and you're like, or he's kind of on the fringe, you're like, just go heel. Just do it, just commit to it. Like, so I think Priest and Balor now at WrestleMania, I think it could be a potential show stealer on whatever night they're on.
I would agree with that. I think because they had great chemistry, but it was a very good match on Raw as well. And one other question I've got to ask just quickly, and now this is kind of going slightly off your topic, Martin, but I have to do it as we're here. The idea, it's Damien Priest. We've mentioned about this sort of bad guy role. Could it encourage the Demon to come out at some point from Finn Balor as well if they escalate the feud that far?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good idea. I never really thought of that. And then one of the lads actually said it to me. He was texting me this morning and he was saying about, I'd love to see Demon, Balor and Priest. And I didn't really cop it. I didn't really put it together for a second. And then I'm thinking to myself, the Demon's been like on the shelf now for a bit. Priest going like heel, I suppose, the way he was doing the whole, like, what would you say, like angel and devil kind of thing. You're like, which one you're going to get? But now he's just going to go whole hog into the Priest or the Damien side. And it could be the fact that like maybe Finn can't beat him as Finn Balor. He has to be the Demon to beat him. So that could be it could be a spectacle as well for WrestleMania.
It certainly could indeed there. And obviously the other fresh bit of scenery potentially as well, Edge turning heel. I really didn't see that coming. Of course, he had the acceptance from AJ Styles for the challenge. And then he said, well, he didn't want this bogus tag team wrestler AJ Styles. I'm trying to keep it clean here, guys. I know that it was a bit more heavy in with the language, but obviously the kick to the groin as well, the low blow where you kind of went, well, that's a heel move. That's not, you just attacked him. Then there was a low blow. Then the concerto done as well. And obviously that was a big shocking moment. I feel it really set the scene for this match of WrestleMania. It's not just a dream match anymore. It's personal. And it's also giving that encouragement of AJ Styles having to dig out that, guy that runs the place, because we've not seen him for quite a while.
Yeah, fact. Yeah, they're on. I think as well with the likes of heel Edge, I think it's a good way now, especially with the concerto. I think Edge works great as a heel anyway, but I think with the concerto now, you could put AJ, say, you could keep him off the telly for a week or two if you needed it, and then have Edge cut his promo where he's sitting there under the spotlight, such and such, and then eventually you'll get AJ coming in and taking him out, as you said, the face that runs the place, kind of AJ, like the guy who carried SmackDown a few years ago when it changed. I think it was 2016, I think it was, or 2017 or whatever, and he was the top dog to watch. And I think as well, the low blow and the turning heel and the concerto, I think it shows that side of Edge as well. It's like, I don't think I can keep up with this guy anymore. I'm gonna have to get something over on him to kind of establish a bit of dominance here. So I thought it was really good actually.
I loved it. And the thing is as well, I mean, we've had babyface Edges to come back. We've had, if you want, the reunion tour. I mean, I think it's been a strong promo the whole way through, but you could argue and say a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know, not so invested with that last storyline going with the Miz for the number of months. Obviously, it was to have the Beth and Edge storyline, but now we get this Edge here, and obviously AJ Styles has just gone babyface, and now Edge has done some of his best work in his career as a heel. Obviously, you look at the times where No Way Out 2009, where he lost the title, and then he made sure he got in the other chamber match to win it back the same night, and just little tweaks like that. Edge's character has always been dastardly devious and not afraid to get ahead. The ultimate opportunist. Will we get this Edge back now full time?
I think we should anyway. I think until he packs it in, I think heel Edge, ultimate opportunist Edge, I think run with it, because you have the potential, especially with the amount of, like, obviously it's more geared towards like kids and stuff nowadays a lot of the times with characters and stuff, whereas Edge obviously blurs the lines a bit. And when you look back to the Cena, him and Cena a few years ago, and I remember like he attacked Cena's dad and stuff like that, he's that kind of heel you want to hate. You actually do. You're watching him, you're like, I can't believe. And when he did the La Familia stuff actually as well, with when he was feuding with Taker, that was another one where I was like, I love Edge, but I was like, he's getting on my nerves now. Do you know what I mean? And that's a good heel. And I think, and then now that he's attacking AJ, and you could go on for this, and you could attack anybody, whether it's the likes of like any sort of, say, Tommaso Ciampa or Finn Balor, guys that people love. Call up someone from NXT, and you could attack them, and you're like, and straight away it's in the back of your head, you're like, I hate this guy again. And I think he does his best work. I think he honestly does his best work as a heel, so let him run with it.
I think so as well. And I actually think he can make a few stars of it as well. I really, really do. And let's move on to other questions then, so we don't fall too far behind too quickly, because that's always very famous on these Q&As. Zach's in the house from West Coast Popcast. Hope you're doing well, Zach. Thank you for checking out the stream. He says, when you see wrestlers from your homeland on US TV, do you relate more or see them as just another character wrestler? Interesting question this one. I mentioned Finn Balor already. Obviously, we've got the likes of Sheamus, Finley over the years as well. Becky Lynch as well there. So, I mean, what's your feelings? Do you connect with them more?
I do, yeah. I think it's more so. I think with Conor McGregor, say that's the biggest one, because you're like, obviously it's 100% real, and you're like, now he's not the brightest bulb, or he's not the best person to kind of look up to as a role model. But I think when you see people like that, and then you see it on wrestling, it didn't happen on wrestling for so long. Like Finley, obviously he was never really like a world champion, or he wasn't kind of pushed in the face kind of thing. But then we kind of got it with Sheamus. When it happened with Sheamus, I remember that was the first time I was like, whoa, if I wanted to be a wrestler, there's a door open there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whether or not I get to WWE, it's one of them things you're like, yeah, there's a path now to follow at least. And I think because I remember seeing Sheamus on the indies over here, like on Irish Whip Wrestling, it was called, and he used to fight Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, I think, was 19 or 20 at the time. And Drew Galloway, his name was at the time, and it was him and Sheamus and stuff like that. And I remember watching them, and they were the two kind of standouts, because the other guys, and as cringy as it kind of sounds to say, well, especially in Ireland, we have obviously leprechauns, drinking, this, that, and the other. So we had a few guys like, there was a fella called the Ballymun Bruiser, and he used to come down to the ring with a can of like Dutch Gold, like lager, and be drinking it and stuff like that. And it was real, like, that's never going to work anywhere else. And then when I seen Sheamus, I was like, this is deadly. And then more and more, Becky Lynch, as you said, Finn Balor's a huge one, because he knew there wasn't a scene in Ireland. So he went to Japan, and he traveled the States and stuff like that. And he eventually made it. And I think, yeah, you do. It resonates a bit more because you're like, yeah, you feel proud of them, and they feel like they're carrying the country on their back almost because there's very few of them there. So I definitely, yeah, it resonates a lot with me personally.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would say the same. Obviously, for me, the first experience I would have would have been the British Bulldog. Obviously, the Wembley show back in SummerSlam '92, winning the Intercontinental title from Bret Hart. You think, oh, yeah, come on, get behind that. See Lennox Lewis as well, coming into the ring and stuff like that. So, yeah, you do feel that sense of connection. I must admit, not every wrestler do I feel the same. I think that they can be other characters and wrestlers, depending on how they're portrayed, how they're booked. But, there are other ones where you sit there and go, yeah, you do keep an eye out for them. And you do think like, oh, they're doing good things. And like you say, you can be very proud and have that special connection. You're proud of seeing how well they do. So, yeah, I do think overall that there is a sense of more connection. And I'm sure it's probably the same for you, Zach. If there's someone, from the hometowns, you see the hometown hero come in and win a championship or win something like that, it's always got a big pop. But of course, WWE likes to make your hometown heroes lose. So when we get that UK pay-per-view, we're expecting all of them to lose. So, we'll see how it will play out. But certainly it's fun indeed there. But no, thanks. That's a brilliant question. It was a fun discussion, that one. XKI says, I didn't watch Raw, but I saw the thumbnail of and he looked like insane. I hope we see a psychotic Edge with this heel turn. It certainly feels like we've got that opportunist back. It feels like that's the Edge there that we were discussing moments ago. We hope that it will survive. Let's see as we go through. But Martin Creel with another question as well says, the Raw SmackDown after the Mania, do you guys see it as big nights or hype for surprises or landscape changes? Great question, this one. I'll go with you first, Warren.
Yeah, that is a real good question because it used to be synonymous with returns or debuts and stuff like that. And I feel like it's still, I don't know, I think it's just because it's WWE. It gives you that almost like a false sense of like, oh, something big's going to happen here. And then it doesn't, or else it's like, it's something big to them, but it's nothing big to the fans, really. I don't think it has the same energy as it once did. I think it's more so a night out for the fans. A few drinks, let's get a chance going, let's do this, that, and the other, and enjoy yourself, fire away. And then obviously if you do get a big return or a debut, it's a genuine reaction then. It's not like you're expecting it because you're almost built up to be let down a lot of the times with these things. But I don't think it's the same level anymore, personally.
No, I would say it's not the same level. Obviously, we got used to seeing all these NXT call-ups and people like that. Sometimes we get the returns as well, but I don't always feel like it's a big deal. I mean, obviously, we're going to go back to 2020 during the pandemic time, but Nia Jax returned during that point. It was like, oh, we've not seen it for a while, but it wasn't like, I don't know, because it was an empty PC, you didn't feel that sort of same buzz. But this year, I think there is actually a potential for that buzz because obviously with the titles unifying at WrestleMania with Roman and Brock, there is this sense of, is the brand split going to end soon? Is it not? And if it does end, then does the draft become, nothing later this year that we don't get one? So all of a sudden, that night after Mania could actually mean something again. And we've got potential NXT people who we think are ready. If you look at like an Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, LA Knights, Cameron Grimes, there's a load of them that are ready. Perhaps even some that are probably ahead of time schedule where you could turn and say, well, they could gamble on a Bron Breakker and a Carmelo Hayes if they wanted. But also you look at the people and say, what about Oscar? What about Bayley? What about someone like even Elias could come back? I mean, they seem that you've got no plans for him, but you have those people, like I mentioned them, Bayley and Oscar. I don't know if I cut out this, so I'll say their names again, where there could be some genuine excitement if those people were to come back and we have full houses.
Yeah, 100%. The likes of those two, Bayley, Asuka, as you said, some of the NXT guys, if they wanted to pull up, say, a Bron Breakker or Carmelo Hayes, or if they wanted to say stick with guys, as you said, they feel almost overqualified now, like Io Shirai and stuff like that. And I think they'll get that big pop. It's just like for the night that's in it, I suppose it makes plenty of sense, and you will get your big pop and you'll get this, that, and the other. But I think I just have that little niggling feeling in the back of my head, like what's going to happen after that? Do you know what I mean? Like are they going to be on that Raw after Mania, and then you might see them in 2 weeks' time in a 6-man tag, and then you won't see them again. So yeah, like I do think though, as you said, it definitely this year has the potential to go all out, whether it's returns, debuts, anything like that, I think. And as you said, the brand split could be coming to an end. So why not give the fans one last kind of big hurrah there, just in case they do decide to put them back together?
Absolutely. Maybe the biggest one of all, Martin, could be that Veer Mahan actually debuts on Raw. Maybe that could be it. Who knows? Who knows? Supersonic X is in the house of us and says hello. Just one last question about that other question we got, by the way. Do you think the landscape will change? Do you think the brand split will end, or do you reckon we'll keep with it for a time being?
It feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like it could end in terms of obviously you don't really need separate brands then if you're unifying the titles. So I think if you look back to say, I think 99, 2000, even 2001, when you had Raw, SmackDown, and everybody was on every show, I think it was almost more exciting. It was much more watchable, I think. Don't get me wrong, you could have your favorites if you're just strictly watching Raw and strictly watching SmackDown when the brand split happened. But I actually feel it might benefit, at least for a year, with the brand split to happen, or not happen, and just come together this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you have the biggest names, you'll sell out more, maybe sell out arenas again, and maybe, you know, if one or two people do get over, they're getting over with the cream of the crop. So, you know, as Randy Savage always said, the cream always rises to the top. So we'll see how it goes. Martin, I'm unsure about the landscape, but I'm happy to be patient and see where it goes to. But Elijah Washington's in the house. Thank you, Elijah. Hope you're doing well. He says, how do you feel about today wrestling? Now it's different than now of the days. You can't train to be a pro wrestler anymore. You get your name, it's social media or indies, and it is the same for the music now as well. So I'm guessing the pattern of becoming a wrestler is different in the modern day to it, well, how it was perhaps say in the 80s and the 90s. Do you think that's ever beneficial now that it seems to be? I mean, to be honest, let's take from our neck of the woods. I mean, when I was growing up, not that I aspired to be a pro wrestler, but there was nowhere to train, there was nowhere to do it. And now, I mean, there's probably lots of places you can try and get that experience. It seems to be a thriving sort of, you know, popularity in amongst the UK and Ireland.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely, it's changed for the better, I think. Even with the likes of social media, I will say one thing, I think it puts a bit more, what would you say, like a spotlight on your flaws as well. So if you maybe you're like, oh, I'm just going to focus on a big, what's just like aerial moves and stuff like that, and I want to be this kind of wrestler, and then you go out and you have a show and you're brutal, and you're not trained to the point where you should have been and stuff like that, you'll get them you effed up chants. You'll get the gifs on Twitter and stuff like that. So I think it has changed for the better, because that'll make people work harder, I think, at the same time. Because in the back of your head, you were like, oh, I probably don't want to be on Botchamania. Do you know what I mean? I want to put my head down and work. So I think it's changed for the better for the long run. As you said, it was hard. Like, there's very few places to train to be a wrestler, especially years ago over here and in the UK and stuff. Like, honestly, I think there was one school in Ireland, and that was the one that like Seamus came through years ago. And that's a good bit away from me. I'm in South Dublin. That's miles north side. Do you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be something I'd be doing. And it was strict in a way. You had to be a certain age. You had to be a certain level of fitness, which was good, I suppose. But it was never going to break out of Ireland. And then now that the likes of Seamus and stuff like that have made a name, there's the skills popping up everywhere. It could be good. Again, it could be bad though as well, because you could get the occasional kind of sleazeball just looking for a few quid. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, come train, you'll be a wrestler. And the next thing you know, you're out of pocket, and you could end up hurting yourself as well. So I do think though it has changed for the better overall with like social media. Get your name out there, put a name to a face as well, because like Instagram's huge, Twitter's huge, and you can even get like famous off one little interaction. You could have someone critique your work on Twitter. I've seen Ali doing it recently with people, and next thing you know, you have a few thousand followers, and then there you go. You start steamrolling. You can sell a few 8x10s. You can get your name on the card. There you go. I think it works for the better.
Absolutely. I mean, even think about the Long Island IZ story from Zack Ryder back in 2011, the Internet Championship, how that got massive on YouTube as well. So hi, YouTube, by the way. That's where we are right now. But you know, at the same time, it does work for the best. And you mentioned about there will be obviously these one or two that could be perhaps not as good of a high level, or perhaps looking to look for pocket, but that's where social media plays in as well. If someone's trying to scam someone, they're going to get found out, and they're going to get found out quick because there's a place to publicize it. So overall, I think it's for the better, absolutely, without question there. But great question once again. We get some great questions nice and early tonight. Martin back with us says, I still can't believe we're going to see Edge versus AJ Styles match of WrestleMania. What other type of WrestleMania caliber match can WWE do by next year if they do sign some high caliber talent? Well, I would jump in early and say I think the high caliber match that we could look forward to hopefully next year, as we're not getting it this year, would be Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch. Would I be right?
I think you're spot on. Becky and Ronda. And I think the other big one that sticks out, it's kind of a possibility, it's still up in the air, would be Roman and The Rock as well, if that does go that route. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It's early days as well. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if they'll end up signing people. If you might get some people jumping ship from different companies. You never know. But definitely Ronda and Becky seems a lock for next year, I think.
It certainly does indeed. And obviously, if Cody does come to WWE, then all bets are off, because that's when obviously you might find a Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks at Mania next year. But obviously, it seems a long distance from this point. It seems like we'd still be fantasy booking at this point. So obviously you wouldn't want to turn around and put your neck on it. And obviously celebrities, it seems to be a big thing going on for this year, and returning legends. So The Rock would be a fantastic shout for next year at WrestleMania, for example, would be a great choice to come in. Potentially Steve Austin, Vince McMahon. We'll probably be touching that at some point during this stream. But I mean, obviously celebrities as well. Johnny Knoxville, Logan Paul. They seem to be getting loads of people in. We had Bad Bunny last year. So it looks to be all sorts of high caliber talent. And obviously, I guess it comes to a point where you sort of say the talent is all year round. I mean, are they benefiting from this, or do they need to have a standout moment lower in the card?
Yeah, I think the other guys definitely need to. It depends, obviously, the time they get, but they definitely need to go out and steal the show. They have to, especially if they're leaning so heavily on, as you said, likes of a Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, and stuff like that. Now, Bad Bunny, obviously, he killed it. He was great, but at the same time, though, he's in a tag team match last year's WrestleMania, and then there's a load of guys sitting in the back that could have been out there. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard for them, I'm sure, and it's hard to see. But at the end of the day, it's a business, so I'm sure that like the likes of Vince and the other guys are like, well, our ratings are such and such, and nothing's really happening. We can't really get the fans behind you 100%. It's fine getting a few tweets and a few Instagram likes, but you're not really putting that like butts and seats, as they say. So I think it does hinder them in a way, but again, it definitely should light a fire underneath them to go out and steal the show anywhere in the card.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. More people are checking it because they want to see a Ronda Rousey or Johnny Knoxville. We mentioned all those names already. Then, yeah, if you do have a breakup moment or something that happens on this show, there is a good chance that maybe people go, well, hang on, I remember what happened there with that person. Say, for example, we should move on to other questions so we don't keep too far behind. But say with Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon, it's a thing. It's a way to get Austin Theory over on that card, surely.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like I can't see 76-year-old Vince McMahon getting in there or whatever. But again, he could accompany him down to the ring, send in Austin Theory. Like you think Vince might be getting in there with McAfee, and he's in the little gear and stuff, like the singlet he used to wear and the jeans and stuff. And then next thing he's like, no, you know what, even better, here's Austin Theory. And there you go. Do you know what I mean? And then he has his WrestleMania moment, and the fans are, yeah, they might be booing or they might be cheering, whatever, but at the same time, it's a moment. That's all that matters.
Absolutely, indeed. Absolutely, indeed. But let's move on. I don't know if I called this up already, but Supersonic's in the house. Hope you're doing well, Supersonic, and look forward to your questions as we go through the stream. I'm going to call Randy Sam up for the first time, I do believe, during this stream. He says, what do you think about the build? Edge is a heel that nobody can stop him, like Roman Reigns, and they possibly build someone to destroy Roman's title. Also, Edge is a good heel. He is a very good heel. We've already talked a little bit about this heel run potentially, but I mean, obviously, the good thing is if you can build a good heel up against an Edge, or a good babyface, sorry, against the heel Edge, surely that could put them in a good position to go after a Roman afterwards.
Oh yeah. It's almost like Randy Orton, the whole legend killer thing he did, and then next thing you know, he's the youngest world champion. He beats Benoit. So I think it's definitely a platform, definitely a huge springboard for guys who, if they can get over the hurdle of the ultimate opportunist, and this is a guy who's around 20 odd years and he's beaten the best. If you can beat him, you're next in line. Essentially, you could go on and like topple Roman. Why not?
I think it seems like a good strategy, Randy. Great question once again there. Supersonic X with the first question here today. And do you think WWE don't have any creative plans for Asuka? I find it weird. Hopefully she'll be back after Mania. Well, actually, Supersonic actually posted a caption or something from a report, one of the dirt sheets, that had claimed that there was no creative plans for Asuka. She is good to go and ready. I feel at this point, WrestleMania feels like she's not going to be back for. But would you start worrying for Asuka if she's not back Raw or SmackDown after Mania, if she's cleared and good to go?
Yeah, if it comes to the night after WrestleMania or the SmackDown after WrestleMania and stuff, if she's not back by then, I'd if I was her, I'd try to be having words with someone in the office. I'd be like, hang on, I'm sitting here now. Yeah, I'm just sitting on the shelf here. I'm good to go. Let me go out there, give me a program, let me cut a promo, let me do something, and then get her name, get a bit of steam going behind her again, that kind of thing. And then there's a lot of women on that roster right now that could go with Asuka and have a good match, even a little small feud, even just a 1 month thing. Like Dewdrop, she's been the past few weeks, she's been fantastic, I think.
Yeah.
So even her against Asuka, why not?
That'd be brilliant, because also, I mean, but I know Supersonic X is a massive Asuka fan, by the way, so probably wouldn't want me to talk about the idea of Dewdrop getting over, but that would be a good role as well. So a good win for someone like a Dewdrop. That's a big win. That's a former Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion as well. Asuka's done it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what you want from the likes of, especially the fact that she's not doing anything right now. She could come in and play the whole, what would you say, domineering Asuka and stuff like that, where she's like, oh yeah, I used to be this, I used to be that, and then Dewdrop lays her out, and it's like, well, that's what I can do now. And then oh, you're rusty now. You've been sitting on the shelf for a bit too long, and you can build stories like that with a lot of women in the roster, and it's a good way to make stars. So why not?
Absolutely. We hope there'll be plans for Asuka very, very
100%.
soon. We hope, whether it's now or Mania or afterwards, but fingers crossed it won't be too long further down the way. Martin Career, can you people promos really harm the effectiveness of heel turns on Priest and Edge? Obviously, Priest definitely blamed the people. What are your feelings about the you people promos?
I think the you people promo was a bit played out. I will admit. I'd like someone to do a promo kind of from the ground up, whip something up, just do your own thing. Don't rely on that. Obviously, it's a bit of a crutch, and it is handy if you're not really one for the mic. Do you know what I mean? Like the likes of Priest, he doesn't really cut many promos, so he does a few little backstage bits and stuff like that. But I think it could work for Priest at least for now. But don't use it that much. Do you know what I mean? Don't let that crutch become like your leg. Just don't do it, because when you look at other guys that, like I suppose Eddie Kingston's one of the main examples, CM Punk, these kind of guys, I'm sure they've had that you people time, that moment, but go on from it. Do you know what I mean? Don't rely on it. If you can think of something without using it, fire it away. I think that played out though, personally.
I agree, they're played out. I mean, obviously, Priest went down. I think Edge is going to do a different form of you people. I think the you people is going to be the locker room, because he was angry that people were not coming down for him. And he's like, what happened to that locker room? And it feels like that could have sparked that heel turn into life, maybe. So I'm very intrigued to see the why Edge why next week on Raw.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Edge one, in fairness. As you said, angry with the locker room. Why does nobody want to step up and fight me, kind of thing? That makes a lot more sense. That you people, in terms of at the locker room, makes perfect sense. In terms of Priest, could have just been a once-off, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And hopefully it will go into a different direction. Obviously, we said Balor and him could be a fantastic rivalry and program, however they want to book it. We've got a question here saying from Randy Sam, do we think we get the Usos versus Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens for the tag belts, the Mania winner takes all, because they keep on mentioning it? Well, there was quite a bit of mention of it on Raw this past week, along with Seth's laughs. I love Seth's laugh, I've got to say very quickly. What would you be down for this if they went down this way?
I wouldn't like. Oh, at first, actually, do you know what? When I was reading that message there, that message, I was thinking to myself, nah, I wouldn't like it. But then I'm thinking to myself, if they're going to end that brand split, it wouldn't be a bad match to have, to unify the belts, like to have one World Tag Team Champion. I'd prefer to probably at Survivor Series for no belts, just champion v champion. That's the way I would like it. But I wouldn't be opposed to, actually.
I think it could work. I mean, certainly, obviously with the other rumors and plans in there, obviously maybe it doesn't feel the right time to do it. But if it does happen, I would be quite happy to see it. And obviously, if we get the tag titles and the brand splits ending, we need the women's champions to go head to head at one point. And a bit of me thinking right now that would be Ronda Rousey versus Bianca Belair. Does that feel like a SummerSlam main event to you?
Definitely feels like a SummerSlam main event. It feels like a big match. One to sell tickets for sure. Because whatever, love or hate Rousey, she's a big name. Do you know what I mean? And Bianca Belair, in terms of like what she's done now over the past year or two, fantastic. She's the top dog for me personally. As much as I love Becky Lynch, as much as I love Asuka if she comes back, and Charlotte and stuff like that, there's no one better than Bianca Belair right now, I don't think. So her and Rousey, let's do it for SummerSlam. I'm for that all day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see it. And I've got to agree, Bianca Belair is in a completely she's at a different level right now. Amazing stuff indeed there. Martin Career, if you could pick two gimmick matches from WrestleMania for the 2 nights of WrestleMania, what would it be, and who would be in the opening and main event matches? Goodness, there's a host of questions in one. So gimmick matches, what gimmick matches would we pick for each night of WrestleMania if we could?
I was only saying this to my brother yesterday, I think. I would love if they got rid of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and had it at WrestleMania again. Because it's the best way to showcase lads who might not get a shot, like it might not get a WrestleMania match at all. So give the Money in the Bank match back, I think, to WrestleMania. So I'd say Money in the Bank match for one night of WrestleMania. And in terms of another gimmick match, I would probably say like a Falls Count Anywhere, a hardcore match. They tend to be good.
They do indeed.
Yeah, I'd say them too.
Sounds good to me. I always said if Vince McMahon is going to get in the ring, and it's a really big if, I think it should be a street fight, because that seems to be where he's been most comfortable over his career, being in those 4 matches. Less bumps, less wrestling, and obviously protects Pat McAfee as well to that degree also. And if you want to get Austin Theory involved, that's how you would do it. So that certainly would be one I would go down. Trying to think of another one. Obviously, it wouldn't be for. I did a fantasy booking video, so I'm giving a little bit away here. And I didn't really book this for WrestleMania. I booked it for WrestleMania Backlash, but still, I do think eventually Becky and Bianca should do an Iron Woman match. I do. The timing of their storyline, obviously the 26-second stuff with Bianca and Becky, to do an Iron Woman match, to be in there for 30 minutes or an hour or something like that, I think would be really fun to see at some point. I just don't think the feud is ready for that point just yet.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Actually, it's kind of a feud closer, as you said. It's not really ready right now, but that'd be amazing, and the story behind it too.
It certainly would. Certainly would. What would be your opening and obviously main event matches? I guess. I mean, we know Roman and Brock's main event night 2, so we both know the women's matches are on night 1. Who's main eventing?
I think it has to be the Rousey match. I think that's just going to the Royal Rumbles. Whoever wins the Rumble, I'd like to see main event. That's the way I look at it. So I think Rousey, Rousey would headline Mania night 1, and then I think it's Roman and Brock is night 2. So they'd be the main events.
I agree with you. I think that's exactly how it's going to go down. Obviously, if they're winning the Rumbles, that's how it should be. It keeps that stipulation intact. So I totally agree with that as well there. Randy says, do we think we need a women's mid-card for WrestleMania? I'm guessing mid-card title. I'm guessing along that line.
I wouldn't mind seeing maybe... I was actually going to say the women's tag team titles, but I don't know any women's tag teams. Right now, I couldn't tell you any. I don't think there is any right now, unless they did the Dusty Classic. Maybe the winner of Dusty Classic has a tag team title match at WrestleMania. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be quite exciting. I mean, the only one I can think of, and it seems to be that reunited last week with SmackDown, is the Team Bad with Sasha Banks and Naomi. I think they could be looking to sniff around the hunt. But like you say, outside of that, you unless you bring outsiders like the Bellas and people like that in, that tag title scene is going to be nailed on as a normal tag team match. But as a mid-card title idea, I think it could work if you unify the Raw Women's SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Then you can get, I don't know, someone like a Rhea Ripley or a Nikki ASH or Doudrop we mentioned earlier in the video, could probably get themselves a championship run.
100%, yeah. That'd be great, especially for the likes of, as you said, Doudrop, Ripley as well. I'm waiting for her to go on another tear. I thought they were going to book it with the week before Elimination Chamber, when she had that. She ran the gauntlet, and then she got, I think, Bianca Belair better, but that was a great showing from her, and it feels like she's about to get the next rub now, I think, after WrestleMania, I think.
I could certainly see that, and I really want to see Rhea versus Becky. I think that'd be an awesome match indeed. One person that Rhea's faced a lot, and Alyssa Stansbury is in the house, and thank you for checking out the stream, says, please get rid of Nikki Cross superhero gimmick. She didn't stand out. Tag team match. Wish she'd get the feud with Alexa Bliss. Please get rid of stuff. She's the worst character on the roster. I mean, it hasn't connected as well as maybe one may have hoped with Nikki ASH. I always liked Nikki Cross as Nikki Cross. I like Piper Niven as Piper Niven. I like them as an idea of a tag team. Would that be a direction we could go instead?
Oh, you could actually, yeah. And I suppose, yeah, the little Scottish contingent there, yeah, why not? And they're both as well, like the likes of, as you said, when she was Piper Niven instead of Doudrop and Nikki Cross, they always had that kind of aggressive kind of side to them. So why not put them both together? The aggressive heel tag team.
I think could work. Really, really could. I mean, the thing is, with if we look at Nikki ASH, this is a difficult question to answer, I guess. But is there a way that we can rescue this superhero gimmick at this point, or is it done?
I think it's done. I do think it's done. I think the only time you could have maybe saved it is when she turned on Rhea Ripley, and she could have done maybe, instead of a superhero, did a super villain. She could have done a complete switch, but I think they shot themselves in the foot now not doing that. So I think I reckon scrap it now. Let her just go off and be Nikki Cross again.
Yeah, I would agree, 100%. I think it all went wrong from when she won Money in the Bank and the championship. And I know people will say, well, she won the championship, but her character was supposed to be almost. She was supposed to be close to it, and we're supposed to get behind her. She won it immediately. So, of course, the story kind of was finished as soon as she dropped the championship a month later. So she's been floundering around for months and months, and I feel very, very sorry for her. But a feud with Alexa Bliss, perhaps to get her back to that Nikki Cross, could be interesting. And we've not seen Alexa Bliss since Elimination Chamber, just thinking about it.
Yeah, a bit of a shocker, actually. I thought she was going to be on Raw last night. I thought we'd see a lot more of her since Elimination Chamber, but no, apparently not. Unless they have something planned and they're just trying to keep her off TV until they have like that kind of feud lining up. As you said, like if they were doing like Nikki against Alexa and they had a moment where you could have, say, Nikki after getting a hiding again off Rhea Ripley or something like that, and then have Alexa come out and attack, or go, oh, you can stay with me, I'll look after you, and then attack, or vice versa. But it's very strange that we haven't seen it. I think it's crazy. Yeah.
Very strange indeed. There. Hopefully that answers that well for you, Alicia. And we've got Randy back that says, "Tell your laugh. You heard Damien Priest scream, 'I'm the bad guy,' and doing the Razor's Edge. Do you think Damien Priest is going to be the new Razor and possibly get the Tony D'Angelo on main?" To be honest, I do see the comparisons with Damien Priest and Razor Ramon. And to be fair, there's worse wrestlers you can be compared to, because he was one of an own type character, Scott Hall, at the time, especially as the bad guy Razor. Do you see those comparisons?
I do, yeah. It's the height, it's the how. What would you say? He doesn't care. He gives off that vibe. He's just like just carefree, like the way Scott Hall is. I think, especially in his NXT run he was in a hot tub with the models and stuff like that. I was just that Scott Hall all day. That's something he would do day to day, I'm sure. So, I can see the comparisons. And I liked the little nod to him as well. Yeah, like, I'm the bad guy and the Razor's Edge. It was a nice little nod. I don't think they'll go further with it, but it was a nice little nod.
It certainly was indeed. Do you think Tony D'Angelo could be one of those coming up to the main roster soon? I think it could be a bit too early.
Yeah, I think it will be too early. I think if he came up, he'd be lost in the shuffle. Just because, especially, he's such a strong character for NXT right now, and if they pulled him, you're losing something there, and then he could get lost in the shuffle really easy on the main roster. Especially, like, as much as it sounds crazy to say Raw being a 3-hour show, you only realistically get about 2 hours, because there's ads and there's promos and replays. So if they can't find time for most of the guys already on the roster, I don't think they'll find a place for Tony D'Angelo right now.
No, I completely agree. I think he's at least 12 months away before we'd see him in that. Maybe he can pop up on an occasion like Ciampa and others have done, but I don't think a consistent run at this point. But we've been asked also about from Jeff Samuel. Jeff, hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the stream. It says, in your opinion, what character will you get Elias, in your opinion, and who will he feud with? Personally, I worry for Elias. There's no plans for him. He's actually got a different character coming in the WWE 2K22 game, where he's meant to be like the Macho Man Randy Savage. I think the first feud I can see him being is actually in GM mode when I play it, to be honest. I don't see him on WWE anytime soon.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I literally cannot. I forgot he was still signed for a while. And then when I seen the likes of, as you were saying, the whole Macho Man kind of gear and stuff in the new wrestling game, I was like, oh Jesus, I don't know now. I honestly can't think what kind of character they're going to give him if they do go with the Macho Man route. That, I suppose that's something, but it's one of them kind of characters that'll fizzle out after a while. And even like the Nikki ASH thing, it's one of those kind of things. It's not an evergreen or whatever like that. So I would be worried for Elias, to be honest.
I certainly would be as well. And I hate to say that, because you don't want anyone to lose their position in WWE. And I'm going to say, if anyone from WWE is watching, just bring him back as he was. If you need to do a variation, put him with Happy Corbin. Regulars, when I've said this before, put him with Happy Corbin, because Happy Corbin's obnoxious. You've got the Joker with Madcap Moss, who's not a very good Joker. Then you've got the musician who's not really the musician, who's mocking the hometown, and Corbin's loving life, seeing it as well. Just put them as a trio. I think it could work.
Oh yeah, I actually agree with that. I didn't really think of that much, but that's a great idea. The fact that you have the obnoxious, brash fucking I didn't mean to curse there, sorry. Happy Corbin. Right. You have Madcap Moss, as you said, not a great Joker, but he plays up to it. And then you could have Elias there, and I guarantee you get some you get some laughs. You would absolutely get some laughs and some promos with them boys.
You certainly would. Yeah, I think so indeed. So, yeah, hopefully at some point he comes back, but we do worry. Martin Korea, if both can make 3 wishes to happen at WrestleMania, what would they be and why? Martin's getting some big questions today.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that one's after throwing me through a loop off the bat. I'll have a think about it. I can't really think of one off the top of my head right now. I think it's just because I'm just at the arena. I'm like, whoa, Jesus. But I'll have a think about it. Can you think of any?
Okay. Yeah, I think 3 wishes then I could say that can happen. Bianca Belair wins the first one. I don't know if I cut out there for a second, but Bianca Belair to win the Royal Women's Championship has to be the first one. She has to right the wrong. Goodness, it's not easy for me to talk. It's late where I am. Has to right the wrong from SummerSlam last year. I would say that personally would be quite nice to see. I do think that if we're going to go down this avenue, Roman has to win as well. But I mean, as we're going for wishes, I suppose I could do better than Roman winning. So let's go for wishes. Austin actually appears at WrestleMania because to see that entrance in Texas, I think would be electric. And just to see him stun Kevin Owens, doesn't have to be a match, just stun Kevin Owens, I think would be pretty awesome to see. And then there's the last one. I'll tell you what, it's outside the box, but Alpha Academy to just be on the card because right now, Chad Gable is absolutely electrifying each and every week. If you're not entertained by Chad Gable, in my personal opinion, you're not going to find anything entertaining in WWE because I personally think he's brilliant. And yeah, I mean, I'm finding it very hard to not do the catchphrases already. So hopefully I can sort of retract right now and I can pass over to you.
Yeah, 100%. Chad Gable is amazing lately. He's just so funny to watch, and he's just it's one of them things. Just let them be who you want to be. Do you know what I mean? Give him something and give him a bit of time. Give him a live mic. Let's see what happens. And he's brilliant. He's running with it. In terms of the 3 wishes, I think, do you know what? I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes debuts at WrestleMania. That's what I'm gonna go with. All right, that's me number 1. In what way? I don't really know, but I'm gonna say Cody Rhodes debuts at WrestleMania. I will say, I'm gonna wish. Let me see. I would like to see a big celebrity kind of, not necessarily in the ring. I'd like to see a big celebrity sighting, and then maybe the Raw after Mania, it's kind of like a signed thing, like the way you had, like say Logan Paul, and you have. I remember there a few years ago, Tyson Fury was on it. He was he did the whole Crown Jewel thing, I think it was. I would love to see Conor McGregor in WWE, so I would like to see him there.
Yeah,
at WrestleMania, just to show up, or just even a little backstage thing where I'd like, or a fan in attendance. There's Conor McGregor, and then I think the last wish, I think it's Bianca Belair getting a WrestleMania moment. Has to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're 3 great wishes there. And to be that person, you imagine, that annoying person always says, like, when the genie comes and goes, you got 3 wishes, and you say, can I have 2 more? I thought of 1 or 2 more. So, yeah, for me, RK Bro to break up and face each other, I think that would be quite a fun WrestleMania match. I think they will break up, by the way. Randy said, we'll win those titles. If it's the last thing we do, it means it's going to be the last thing they do. I really took note of that line and thought it's happening next week. So that's one thing. And obviously, you said that celebrity. What if The Rock was to actually show up at WrestleMania and confront Roman Reigns at the end of the show?
That would be perfect, wouldn't it? It'd be a great way to close the weekend as well. Send the fans home happy. And like the thing that I think of with Roman Reigns and The Rock is all about family. He's all about. He always goes on about like energy from like all sorts. He gets energy from anything. The man that he always says about. And I think if he was to face with Roman Reigns, it'd be like, you're making a show with his family. That kind of thing. That's the way he could kind of, he's like, this isn't what we're about. And then Roman could lay him out or something like that. There you go. Fans are booing. They're going mad. Their hero's down in the middle of the ring, but still massive pop for his music though.
Indeed, I really do think it's an awesome suggestion there. Jeff Samuel says, also, Edge heel turn was dope. Also, I love it. I didn't see it coming at all. And that's what SCW was talking about. Unexpected stuff. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was very unexpected. Didn't see it coming from a mile off. Warren, was it a big shock for you as well?
It actually was. I was not expecting it at all. I thought they were just going to run with the face Edge. As I said earlier, the reunion tour kind of thing. Just let him do his, I'm doing this match. And he's a good guy. He's selling t-shirts. Everyone's loving him. But yeah, the heel turn. And it was just so quick. And I don't know what it was about. It was perfect. It was really well done. 100% really well done. And that's, as Jeff said there, you need unexpected stuff that can keep you watching. It's intriguing. Do you know what I mean? And especially at the time it's on over here, you want to be shocked.
You need it. If on our time zone, you need it if you're watching it live there. Absolutely, indeed there. We've got Underground Temple in-house says, evening, guys. Hope you're doing well. Underground, thank you for checking out the stream, as well as Rick Perry. Thank you for checking out the stream as well. Don't get mad, but do you think that we get Bianca versus Becky on the same night as they are doing Ronda and... I think it was Ronda and Charlotte. No, it's there. Ronda and Becky winner takes all on the last minute, or Bianca's wins. I mean, this is a fun suggestion here because, I mean, this is something that reminded me of something I heard earlier today, and I can't remember who to give the credit to. So, unfortunately, whoever it was, I'm very sorry. But the idea of the 2 titles being on the line on night 1, and then it's unification time on night 2. The winners face one another on night 2. So it's just the idea for SummerSlam. What if Ronda and Becky win on night? Ronda and Becky or Ronda and Bianca win on night 1, but then they face off on night 2 and they unify the titles.
It would be crazy, actually, yeah. And it's one of them things. If if there was ever something that you wanted to push pay-per-view sales, you wanted to push network subscriptions, you wanted to push ticket sales, that's the way to do it. Have that kind of implication for night two. And if it was those two going at it, I think, again, as you were saying earlier, that feels like a SummerSlam match. So it's a big match already, even without any sort of build. If you wanted to do winner take all, I'd actually be all for it, to be honest. If it did happen, I'd like to see Bianca do it, though.
Same. I'd love Bianca to do it as well. I'd love her to be the one, but I do know if they were to do it, I'm sure Ronda is the one that's winning it. I can't see it going any other way. But hey, let's wait and see. It'd be very New Japan, that idea, though. So yeah, I like it a lot. Lisa Stansbury, do you think Seth Rollins deserves better? Better than being a tag team, should be in the main event, in her opinion. I mean, Seth, we've already said in the stream, is on another level right now. I do think that the tag team thing is short-lived. Obviously, there's been many rumors of where Seth could be going in a direction for WrestleMania. What would you prefer, Seth the main eventer, or currently Seth in a tandem with Kevin Owens?
Right now, I'd say Seth in the tag team. I do think, obviously, he's main event caliber, like hands down, he is absolutely. But I was saying it earlier. I feel like he's better chasing the title and not with a championship. So I think if he's in the main event, he's just going to be eating pins and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And for me personally, he'd be eating pins because I wouldn't like to see him win the title right now. But I think the tag team set it's refreshing, something different.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, the thing is that's what I found it really entertaining, the start of Raw with the Alpha Academy and with, of course, Seth and KO. I thought it was really, really fun stuff. The tag match as well, I thought. So I would do that right now. But like you said, long-term, Seth is a main eventer. There's no argument with that. I mean, he is someone that should be chasing the belt at some point. When it does come along, it will be primed and ready. I think he will still have a big singles match on WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to win the tag team titles. I put that prediction out now, but we'll have to wait and see. Do you have do you think Alpha Academy will retain those belts on Monday?
I think they will. Yeah, I think they will. I can't see Seth and KO picking them up now.
I think that Seth and KO will not be the team factored into the signing four. I think Randy takes the pin because he's always lost all the way through here, and he'll get frustrated and blame it on Riddle. That's what I think will happen.
Oh, and there's your fraction in that tag team. Then yeah, it makes sense actually. Good show.
We'll see. We'll see if it happens. Rick Perry says here, I bet you was a fan of Jackass Johnny X as a teenager. And also, who knows that show nowadays? That was the MTV when it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, back in the day, Jackass was a massive show. I never watched loads of it, I'll be honest, but it was obviously huge when I was going through, school times and stuff like that. I mean, was you a big Jackass fan?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah, me and the boys, trying to do the bits and pieces they were doing, the shopping trolley stuff, like that, the battering each other just for a laugh. But yeah, no, I was all for it. I love Jackass, man.
It's good fun. It's good fun. But I always had more fun watching other people do those stunts than actually myself doing them. I was like, yeah, I'll watch that from afar. But yeah, you wouldn't get me doing it. But yeah, it's good stuff indeed. What's your thoughts of Johnny Knoxville in this match at WrestleMania quickly? Obviously, it's this showcase moment. And I think Sami Zayn, would retain. Let's hope anyway. Be a good idea to do a stipulation match here.
It could be actually, yeah. Like, why not do a hardcore match? Do you know what I mean? Something like that, because obviously Johnny Knoxville, he doesn't really care too much about the body, throwing it around like a rag doll. So let's do some sort of stipulation match. Sami Zayn to go over and stuff like that. But I do think I don't really mind Johnny Knoxville being on the card. At first, I was kind of hesitant about it. I was like, taking a spot. That's the first thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it is 2 nights, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? It's not too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. There is 2 nights. There's plenty of room to get on the card somehow. And there could be a Battle Royal as well. Who knows? Underground Temple here says, if I give him that autumn push Randy had in 2004, but I'd first give him the United States or US title and then go on to become the world champion. I think that's sensible booking. Personally, that's the way I want to see it go down. I even think Money in the Bank could be in his future this year. I think Austin Theory, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree with the way you laid it out, the question as well. I like the whole build. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a building block. That's the way I've always looked at the titles. All the best, like, what would you say? All the best wrestlers always held the Intercontinental Championship for me anyway. I loved Edge. I loved Chris Jericho, Benoit, Shelton Benjamin. Shame he never got the next one, but them kind of workhorse championships. And I think it puts a lot of not unwarranted stress. It puts a lot of like main event caliber kind of stress on a wrestler to show what they're made of, and can they go for a bigger one. So I think that's the exact way I'd book it.
That's so sensible.
The other titles. Yeah,
So
it really is.
sensible the way you've put that over there, because it's just, I mean, the suggestion, the way you've put it over there and presented it, like you say, that some of the best wrestlers did. I actually was very lucky to be on Wrestling by Wardridge's channel very recently. We did Legacy Sessions Part 3, the greatest Kurt Angle matches. Kurt Angle went through the European Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, then went for the World Championship. I mean, he did King of the... He'd done everything.
He really did. He was literally the definition of a workhorse, and he picked up pro wrestling so quick as well, coming from like the Olympics and stuff like that. And not a lot of people pick up like fake fighting kind of like that quick, and he did, and he made it his own. And as you said, going through every title, European, Intercontinental, World Championship, and you stand back and you look at his career, you're like, wow, that's a complete career. Feels like he's done it all, won it all.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So love that suggestion, Underground. They're absolutely superb. Martin that comes back and says, with Ricochet possibly being one of the top faces in SmackDown, agree with this actually. Would you get behind him being a top talent, and how legit can you make him establish himself on the top of the card? Well, Ricochet has been getting some big wins of late, hasn't he? I mean, would you say he's got an IC title match against Sami Zayn this week? Do we give him a very good showing? Could he win the title? What's going to happen?
Yeah, like I think we could definitely should get a good showing from him. I think give them a good bit of time, and it like being on the likes of, say, like Raw, SmackDown, NXT. He's already been on stuff like that. He's a bit of a name now. It feels like sometimes the fans don't really interact the way I thought they would have, especially with his style. But his style has slightly been watered down. WWE was. Do you know what I mean? Like you see him in New Japan, say, and it's almost like a different Ricochet. Do you know what I mean? I do think, though, a great showing from him. I think we might even see Johnny Knoxville getting involved, to be honest. Something like that, do you know what I mean? Or a video playing on the Titantron, and Sami Zayn getting a bit distracted and annoyed or something. But I don't think he'll win the title. I think he'll have a great showing, and I'd be behind him if they were going to push him for like next in line for IC title, or whether if they put the brands together, a US championship kind of run maybe in a few months' time. And yeah, I like seeing the smaller kind of underdogs even win the big one. It never usually lasts too long, but I'm all for it. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I like seeing him, like, you know, potentially being the big. I mean, he got himself against Brock Lesnar not too long ago, a couple of years ago. In case it didn't go too well. We know that it took a while to rebuild him, but now we've got the opportunity to let's rebuild him. I think it could be a good opportunity to do so. I love your suggestion, by the way, of John Knoxville potentially being involved in this match, because that match isn't set for WrestleMania. Doesn't need to have a title. Ricochet could win it this week, and it could be just Sami Zayn against Knoxville.
Yeah, he could actually, because and then you get the more, like, the way Sammy was very aggressive when he attacked Johnny. He'd be 10 times more aggressive because he lost the title, and it goes back to almost the whole conspiracy against me, stuff like that.
Yeah,
that kind of Sami Zayn. Further away, actually, yeah. I never really, until we got just chatting about there, I didn't really think of Ricochet beating him, and then I'm thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, you could actually have Johnny Knoxville interfere, Ricochet win the championship, Ricochet go off doing that, and then Sammy and Johnny Knoxville in some sort of hardcore match or something at WrestleMania.
I think it's spot on. I dismissed Ricochet up until this question. Now I think he's got a good chance of winning. Could afford it. Underground says, give me Sami Zayn versus Ricochet at Mania for the IC title instead of John Knoxville. Have Zayn versus Ricochet open red hot. I mean, I expect it to be a great match.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that it would be a brilliant match anywhere on the card, any week, whether it's SmackDown, Raw, pay-per-view. But yeah, as you said there, Zayn and Ricochet open WrestleMania red hot. Oh, it definitely would.
It certainly would indeed there. Jackson Rick in the house. Hope you're doing well, Jackson. It says, do you think we get Becky versus Bianca title versus hair match? And also, it's a bit strange. No, Alexa. We still got time, but Alexa should feud with Rhea Ripley. Yeah, a lot to dissect there. I would say that the hair was used this week. Form with the storyline or not.
What do I like the hair being used in the story? Sorry, was it?
Yeah, I mean, the fact it was used on Raw this week. I mean, yeah, did you enjoy it? But do you reckon it could actually escalate further into a hair match at WrestleMania?
I think I don't think it would personally, but I like the idea of it. Like, I think it'd be cool to see Becky kind of push for something like that, like chat to the likes of an Adam Pearce or Sonya Deville, like, I want a title versus hair match, something like that. I think it would be a good bit of little added stipulation. I don't think they'll do it. I wouldn't like to see it either, because it kind of straight away then the winner of the match. I can't see like Bianca Belair losing to her. Do you know what I mean? So I think it would take away a bit.
No.
But yeah.
It would be interesting. I think it would be an interesting little note. As long as Becky doesn't, I wouldn't want in the situation. I think it has to be Bianca only, because then Bianca would win, and I think it's just the title then switches hands. Then I'm fine with it. We mentioned about Alexa really not being around already. We hope she will be around very, very shortly. But the idea she could come and feud with Rhea Ripley, that would be quite fun to see.
Yeah, it would actually. I wouldn't mind that. I think as well. Yeah, you don't even like. I know obviously Alexa Bliss has a character and stuff like that, but you don't really need it. She's actually a decent wrestler, and I think she could have a pretty good feud with anyone. I don't think she's the best, but I personally would like to see Rhea. If she was going against Alexa, I'd like to see Rhea kind of dominate. But again, Alexa's only coming back, so I don't think it'd happen. But Alexa and Rhea, I'd be all for. Give them a few months. I'm all right with it.
Certainly, certainly indeed. Rick says, did you see Carmelo Hayes said he was going to challenge Edge, but HBK said no, lol. But did you see Hayes get a call up? Pete Dunne, is Pete going to get a call up if he loses tomorrow? Interesting. I mean, the match actually tonight, isn't it, between Pete Dunne and Carmelo Hayes? One of the real big talking points of NXT tonight for the North American Championship. What do you say? How do you see it going down? And do you see anyone getting a call up?
I think this could be Pete Dunne's swan song. I think. I personally, if he does lose tonight, I think he will. I can't see them taking that title off Carmelo anytime soon. He's genuinely probably my favorite on NXT. I think right now you can't not watch him. He's just so good. Like, and I think he beats Pete Dunne. I'd like to see Pete Dunne get called up, but again, I'm not too sure on what you could do this side of Mania with him. Do you know what I mean?
There we are. Sorry, I went for a second there. I think I'm back now. But I think you said, what could you do with Dunne if he was called up, was what you last said there. The only thing I would suggest, and I did this in the Royal Rumble video, was to pair him with Sheamus and Ridge Holland, because of the fact that, he was with Ridge Holland before. You could have the idea of, well, will he go against Sheamus but then be partnered with? But I do agree with you. I can't see Carmelo Hayes losing that title anytime soon. Dunne would be the one if anyone's going to get the call up, but hope.
Was it? Sorry, you kind of lagged a bit there again. Sorry.
I'm very sorry. We do have. I should say there is a bit of weather warning where it's high winds, so it's throwing a little bit of extra problems at the moment, even though I'm hardwired in. But I just said about Pete Dunne at the moment. I would bring him in with Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I hope that he would be booked properly if he was to be brought up. But I can't see Carmelo Hayes losing that championship anytime soon. Personally, for me, if Dunne is called up from this, then I hope he's booked correctly.
Yeah, 100%. Like that idea with Sheamus and Ridge Holland definitely makes a lot of sense, especially like the history between him and Ridge and stuff like that. I have this notion in my head of like, the Money in the Bank ladder match. I wish it was at WrestleMania, because if you had a call up or two, it's like the way right now AEW have to face a Revolution ladder match. And you can get surprises, or you can get someone like out of the box to win. I think that would be perfect this year for WrestleMania. I'd love them to just pull a card and be like, yeah, here's a Money in the Bank this year, boys. I'd love it.
It would be awesome. It really would be awesome. I'd be down for seeing it if they were to go down that avenue. Underground says, if you was to book the person to beat Roman Reigns when he does unify the world titles against Lesnar at Mania, who would you have beat Roman? Personally, Underground would go for Bron Breakker to be the one. I think Bron Breakker definitely would be someone in conversation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely in conversation. Just how quick he's actually caught on as well. I honestly was expecting to be a bit of what would you say? Not lazy, but a bit of a brew in the ring. I didn't think he'd be as crisp as he actually is. I really like Bron Breakker, but my thought would be Walter if I could pick, or Gunther now he's called.
Yeah, Gunther. I think Gunther's another one in that conversation for sure. I think Drew McIntyre, certainly, even though he's been there and done it before, I think would be certainly one that would be in the conversation also. And I would be interested in seeing Roman versus Lashley. They're both on two completely different levels now. I don't think Lashley would win, but I certainly think that he's someone that could be on. He's someone that could be on the level at least.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like Lashley and Roman is like, I know people like throw around dream match and this and that. Like, it's definitely not the caliber of a dream match, but it's definitely one that like you haven't seen before, and it could be very good. Especially like Lashley's doing the best work of his career, and so is Roman. That's the perfect time to do it.
Certainly is. It certainly is. I would be very interested in seeing it when they go around to it. Supersonic X, who do you think will win the 2022 NWA Crockett Cup? I'm going with either the Briscoes because they're going to be in the ROH Hall of Fame, or the British Invasion in the inclusion of Harry Smith. I must admit, I've not really been following NWA as of late, so I probably am not the best judge on this. Have you been following much NWA of late?
Just bits and pieces. I've only actually seen a few highlights, stuff like that. But in terms of the Briscoes, though, I think it will be the Briscoes. I think 2020 is going to be a banner year for them. I think they're going to get a big contract somewhere as well. I think they could be AEW bound or even WWE bound as well. So I think, yeah, could be the Briscoes.
It would be wrong for me to ignore 2 votes for the Briscoes there. So I'm going to go for the Briscoes by default for that. I think that's a good way to do it. Mr. Tom Colligue in the house. Congrats, Tom, as well, getting 1K on the subscribers as well this past week. Great channel as well, with his spoiler warnings as well. His question to us today is, do you think the good social media response to T-Bar this week could lead to something more after Mania, given how small the rosters are at the moment? Of course, there was a lot of, let's say, a little bit of backlash, and T-Bar deserves better after getting squashed by Omos, but he did a great job in putting Omos over, because let's be fair, Omos is not the best in the ring, but I think T-Bar made him as good as he could look, really. Do you see a bright future for T-Bar in WWE, or do we think we should get Donovan Dijak somewhere else?
I think the only time you're going to get a bigger kind of push for T-Bar is if he went back to Donovan Dijak. And I can't see it happening, to be honest, just how stubborn WWE are, especially with that character work. They're like, oh, this is ours. We'll keep him as that. I personally think he should probably ply his trade somewhere else. But again, he doesn't complain. He does the best with what he has. And that's what I like, because that's what wrestling's about. As much as it's like we all have our favorites and we'd like to see everyone in the big feuds and the main event and this and that, it doesn't happen for everyone. So I think he did well last night. He looked great, like selling and for Omos, and he really did put him over well. But I think the best days for Dominic Dijak is elsewhere.
I would agree. I think in an Impact environment, I think he could possibly even a main eventer, I would say, if he was there. AEW, I don't think he'd be necessarily in the shuffle that well, but maybe for Ring of Honor. So maybe control your narrative. Who knows? That could be a place for him. But I'd like to see better for T-Bar. We'll go with T-Bar for it. He's one of my favorite performers since watching him back for the breakout tournament in Ring of Honor many years ago now. It feels like it's been about at least 7 or 8 years now. And to be fair, I would like to see him do better. I just don't think WWE are going to go for it. But he's had some killer matches, even on main event, when he's been advertising them as well each and every week. If you want to see him against someone, come and see me against Ciampa. Come and see me against Pete Dunne, against Veer. He's always promoting it. He's fantastic on social media.
He really is. He's a great follow on social media. He's a great follow. And I think as well, with the likes of, he was trending, I think, at some stage last night as well. As you said, it was more so that, like, oh, he deserves better. But again, it shows how much of a following he actually does have, whether WWE see that or not. But I think think he's great. I honestly do think he's smooth in the ring. I've never really seen him watch that much or nothing like that. Especially for a big man, like he's really, really big. I didn't really cop it until they started doing Retribution. I was like, when you saw him and Mace standing side by side, I was like, whoa, that's intimidating. They're big men, and he moves so quick as well for a big fella. I think if this had been a few years back, he would have been definitely a big push, a well pushed big hoss.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm shocked that he hasn't, to be fair, because he felt like it from day one, even in Ring of Honor, he felt like a WWE guy who they would love to get hold of and mold and make into a top guy. Hopefully one day, Tom. Hopefully one day. And hopefully if they do read or listen to social media, they'll give him something to do. That would be very nice. Maybe not be called T-Bar. That would be a great start. Martin says, what if Bray Wyatt comes back to WWE and wins the Money in the Bank? Since in 2015-16, he cost Reigns the briefcase and gains his title back since he lost it from Reigns. I'm going to say this now. I love it. I think it's a great suggestion. I'd love to see it. I don't know if Bray Wyatt would ever come back, but if he was, I'd certainly be down for this.
100% agree. Yeah, that's a great way to have him back into the picture as well. You don't need to worry about he's going to be in like a bit of a middling storyline. Have him win the Money in the Bank, come straight in, cash it in against Reigns. That would make perfect sense.
It certainly would indeed there. I'm going to try and get through a few of the questions as typically, I always manage to get about 20 minutes behind. So we're going to try and make sure we give them proper answers, but perhaps get so we're actually up to date with the chat as well. Next is WrestleMania: Chad Gable versus Drew Gallagher versus Roderick Strong, 2 full triple threat match for the Intercontinental and US Championships. It sounds like a great pure rules match. That although I couldn't see it happening, I certainly think it'd be a fun match. But certainly, I know Underground would love to book something like that on his YouTube channel. He's got some great stuff going on there with his content creation. What would you like to see this one?
Yeah, that actually sounds great. That reminds me of WrestleMania 16, Kurt, Benoit, and Chris Jericho, I think it was. Yeah. So that'd be great to watch. As you said, pure rules, that kind of thing, just straight up wrestling match. I'd love it. I don't think we'll see it in WWE though.
No, neither do I, sadly. That would be the thing. I think Gable stays, but I'm worried about the other two. I would say that. Give me Priest versus Dijakovic in a US title scene after May. Priest, not too long ago, when the draft at first happened, in October, they fought on, had a great match on Raw. So, yeah, hopefully he will get a push after this. It would be nice to see.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah, just even one small feud, give them, say, a few weeks, and then let the officials make their mind up from there.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Curtis John is with us. This is agree SCW because Becky and Doudrop and Nikki looked like a faction yesterday. People gave them the UK, so not that bad idea. Nikki and Doudrop as a tag team. Yeah, it seems to be quite popular. And yeah, like we say, that could be a fun faction. It was mentioned there.
Yeah, it actually could be. Yeah, and it'd be like it's them kind of. It reminds me of like the likes of when you have a big faction, say like Evolution. You have the mouthpiece, which could be Becky, Doudrop, the likes of say like Batista, Nikki, Orton, stuff like this. You could easily put that together, let them go on, and they'd absolutely tear through the women's division.
I totally agree. It'd be a brilliant faction to see. C Nation Dog in the house, hope you're doing well. Says, do you think Finn Balor winning the US title was the right choice? Because Priest have been losing a lot lately to Styles, Owens, and Ziggler. I mean, I think so. Of those 4 names given there, and it goes to show that Priest actually, this maybe has been brewing underneath, and we've all just kind of been seeing it go under the radar. This heel turn has been coming because Priest hasn't been as strong as he was previously.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that he's in there with like the big guys, he can hang with the big guys now. And then Finn Balor, as we said earlier, beating Damien Priest, Priest turning fully heel now. And then that sets off now a whole another level to his character. So I think it definitely was the right move, I think.
I think so as well. I really enjoyed the way it played out on Raw, and let's see how it's going to go. We discussed a lot about that at the start of the video, C Nation. Up there, but Underground Temple here says Elias pair him up with Rick Boogs, give him a tag team title run. That could be fun.
It actually could be, yeah. The 2 boys absolutely doing a concert on the way to the ring.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's get our next comment up on the screen for us now from Jason. Michael says, did you like everybody in the roster was used yesterday except for Alexa Bliss? Do you like Doudrop versus Rhea Mania match? I think the Doudrop and Rhea versus Mania, Doudrop versus Rhea at Mania would be a great idea. I think that'd be a fun match.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's just pure middle of the card, or that kind of like a few minutes. Have 2, and the 2 like they're actually really good wrestlers. So just let them go at it, like, and then you can start a feud from there. You can start a feud before it, whatever you want to do. I'm happy enough to watch that.
Yeah, I certainly would be. One thing I do know, actually, she was, I believe, on a bachelorette party over the weekend. So maybe that's why she was absent.
Oh, maybe. Didn't know
Maybe
that.
that's why. No, I remember seeing it on Instagram, and it obviously forgot about it earlier, but now I've seen it here. It's it gave me a reminder about it. So there you go. We're going to go through the rest of the questions that we've got in here, and then we will call off the stream. So say politely, no more questions. We'll get through everybody that we've got left, and then we can make sure that we give everyone a time for their turns with their questions that have come in. We've been asked by Jeffrey Sam, how do you feel about Street Profits turning heel, feuding with RK Bro because Ford pulled a heel move, pushed around his foot, and I hope that. That's actually a very good point here, actually, because obviously the Street Profits won there. Was a bit of a weird finish. Randy looked hurt. Maybe they're not actually able to be on Raw, and Street Profits are in the placement and are heels. That'd be interesting.
It could be. It could have been a nice way to actually call that on the fly and kind of plant the seeds for a heel turn. I actually wouldn't mind seeing them as a heel team now, because they've done it all as a face team. I think they are super over though as a face team. So I don't think they'll turn them heel right now anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely indeed. There, I'm going to apologise again because I know that now it's breaking up a lot more than what it was earlier. So I do apologise what you said there with the ideas of that. I think it could be quite fun and interesting seeing how it will play out. And certainly on Raw this week, throwing the dynamic with Randy, I think it throws a whole new interest with the tag team match. So let's see how it is going to go down. But Jeffrey also says AEW one as well. Do we think Adam Cole beats Hangman at Revolution? And who are the three surprises for the ladder match in your opinion? Well, the ladder match is a very hard one to predict from this point onwards, I would be honest. But Cole versus Hangman, who have you got? Warren, give us your takes on this.
I have Cole. I have Cole all day, and it's nothing against Hangman. I love him. I think he's great in the ring. I just don't think it's not that it's the wrong time for him to be a champion. I just think his title run hasn't been as like not star studded, but didn't feel like that much of a big deal or something like that. So I think Cole, it might be the right decision now. And then in terms of the three surprises, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I'd love to see Cesaro being one of them. That's about it.
Yeah, same. Swerve Scott could be another one potentially. Wouldn't mind seeing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's hard to really say. I'm going to go on the flip though. At the moment, I'm feeling Hangman, but let's wait and see the end of Dynamite before I give full predictions. Predictions will be coming on the channel on Thursday, so keep an eye out for that, Jeffrey. I'd say to have something intriguing for WrestleMania. Way to go actually with that open challenges. What do you feel about that? I mean, obviously it's nice to see stories actually built for WrestleMania, but to know you've got two surprises anyway.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea actually. As you said, yeah, building a story for your biggest show makes more sense, I think. But yeah, I don't actually mind the idea of the two open challenges. I think maybe one might serve better personally. Have one as a proper story and one as an open challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that certainly would work quite well there. I think that would be the best way to do it. How do you feel if we get Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee? Relieved would be the words.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
That'll be where we're going to go with that one, Jason. Underground says, do you think AEW need trios championships with their bloated roster at the moment? I would introduce them in the summer of 2022. Who would you book to as well there? What are your thoughts, Warren?
I think the trios championship could work. They do have a pretty bloated roster. 100%, they have a pretty bloated roster. I think what helped the bloated roster would maybe be Rampage going to 2 hours more so than another title. But I think out of two, though, I think Death Triangle should get the nod as the fourth trio championship.
It could very well be. I personally, I mean, when I first looked at this, because I said I want to see these trios titles come first champions, but if we can't have that, if we can't have UE versus Elite, then I think that House of Black would be a good option personally.
Yeah, 100%. I don't mind anyone who wins the trio championship first, especially.
Absolutely. I think we'll get some NXT people and legends for the Battle Royale for Mae Young and Andre. And if so, give me names you'd like to see. I think we definitely will see possibly just people that are not you. NXT stars. Do you see anyone potentially breaking through?
Yeah, I think with the likes of the Mae Young Classic, you could have. I think maybe what's her name? Raquel Gonzalez, I think, would be a big one, like the big monster in the ring kind of thing. In terms of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, yeah, I think it'd be more so middling kind of guys who don't really get that much kind of screen time. Zion Quinn, them kind of guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see it being anyone like massive.
So I think that the kickoff is where they're most likely to be.
Yeah.
Of the Bianca and Becky story, Bateman 901 likes it, and yeah, I like it as well. I think they're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's actually probably one of the best kind of women's storylines they've had in a long time, to be honest.
I would agree. If you are interested in fantasy booking idea, Batman 901, I've done how I'd conclude the Underground also with us now saying that I see you have Damien Priest and Edge in the title. Would you like to see them in the program together at SummerSlam 2022 against each other? Certainly at one stage, but not when they're both heels.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There has to be, I think, with something like that, there has to be a clear-cut phase, I think.
I think maybe WrestleMania next year, there's time then for one of them to turn.
Yeah, I actually, that'd be a great idea, because you have the whole year now to work on that. I mean, let them get the heel runs out and then turn one face then, close enough to next year's WrestleMania.
Absolutely, indeed. There, Chris Pauly says, "I'm so ready for Edge versus AJ Styles. It could be the HBK of Cut Angle, and if who do we want in it if they were to do that?" And I think the comparisons of that with HBK and Cut Angle are fantastic. As for the ladder match, I think that'd be pretty cool. Would you just throw in a lot of the SmackDown mid carders?
Yeah, that's what I'd stick with. I'd stick with the likes of the guys who you see once in a blue moon, or you see them like even the likes of say Sheamus and like Ridge Holland. You see them and they're doing bits, but not doing a lot. So why not throw them into the match then?
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally get what you're saying with that as well. Then, I mean, for me, with the 5 people, I mean, you could look at the likes of like I don't know, like a Sheamus, Xavier Woods could be quite fun to see in amongst there. There are some good talents on the roster you could do. Mansoor could be in there. Mustafa Ali bringing back to TV.
Yeah, actually, Mansoor would be a great shout as well, actually, because he hasn't like obviously he went on that crazy run of being undefeated for I can't remember how many matches he was undefeated for. So yeah, give him a kind of a bigger match. Show him in a ladder match. I'd love to see Ali back as well. God, I'd love to see that.
I would love to see it as well. Everything Pro Wrestling in the house as well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking out the stream. Also asking 3 things you'd like to see happen the night after WrestleMania.
Oh, that's a good one. I'd like to see, let's see, a big debut or call up. I'm not too sure who I'd go with. I'd like to see maybe Walter. Gunther. I keep forgetting the name. Yeah, Gunther. I'd like to see him come up. The whole of Imperium, actually, bring them all up together. Imperium to debut. I would like to see. I said about it earlier about. I'd like to see Conor McGregor, maybe someone like that caliber in the crowd. Maybe have him the night after WrestleMania, and then last thing. I don't even know. I really don't know. Maybe Cody Rhodes if he does show up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome there. Like you say, a big shocking return like a Cody Rhodes would be awesome if he's not at WrestleMania. A big return like a Bayley and Oscar could be quite fun to see as well. Like nice. And I'd like to see actually one of the Battle Royal winners get a title match, like maybe like the IC or US, and actually go and win it.
Oh yeah.
And they win it, or even in like I don't know, the women's tag team titles or something like this, and they actually go and win the belt. So I think that would be quite fun, just to have a big shock, because Paige did it all them years ago, and it was one of my favorite moments of Raw at the time. So that's certainly something I would be quite down for seeing.
Oh yeah, 100% actually. Yeah, that whole the crazy title switch that you're not really expecting, always a great moment.
Absolutely, indeed. There, we're going to go to the last few questions now. We're going to go in the last 10 minutes, so we're going to try and get through as many questions as we can. If we don't, apologies in advance. Martin Curia says, previous storylines from the past couple of years in WWE you would like to see with a payoff that we haven't seen yet. For him personally, it would be KO regaining his Universal title. I personally would be down for that, and I want to see AJ Styles as well get one more run at the top there with the championship.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. KO regained the Universal title. AJ, as you said, get one more big run. And funny enough, I would like to see. I don't know. I had a feel like when I was reading that question there, and I was seeing like from a couple of years of WWE that didn't have the payoff that you wanted. The biggest one I could think of would be what's his name, CM Punk, when he didn't get his main event at WrestleMania. I would have loved to see that, but I don't think we will.
That would be epic. That would be a show and a game changer all day long. That would be awesome. Luke Bridge says, love all the wrestling, but what's your favorite rock band of all time?
Oh, my favorite rock band of all time is Pearl Jam.
Great choice. Really, really good choice. Yeah. I think if I had to pick off the top of my head, I think I would go with potentially. I think I'd go with Guns N' Roses potentially. I think it'll be quite a good one. More on the metal side, but also a really big fan of Stained. I always like their work as well, so that'd probably be another outside bet I'd give there as well. As well, we've got, in your opinion, from Justin, do you think AEW should sign William Regal as a big announcement to help create some good stuff there? Also help build a performance center for the wrestlers. William Regal, I think, would be an asset anywhere. If anyone wants to sign him, I think they would be gaining something huge with William Regal.
100% agree. Yeah, I think any company, it doesn't even matter what he's doing, whether he's behind the scenes, booker, it's a writer, anything he's doing, performance center, anything. Get him in the door. I think he'd be a great asset for AEW. I don't think they'll announce it as a big announcement though. Do you know what I mean? I think it'd be more of he's all elite. He's going to work backstage, like the way they did with Mark Henry and stuff.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, I think there would be kind of more likely to go down that route. Ricky Glow, if I was booking the AEW Revolution, I'd have Keith Lee win and pull a Brock, but have him and Hobbs destroy Starks. I can't wait for Saturday. Happy Edge heel turn. I think that's an interesting idea there. The idea that Starks gets completely turned on.
Yeah, that's it's a shocker, and that's what you want with wrestling. So I'd actually be all for that, just to see then how Starks can come back. How is he going to be the likes of Hobbs? It's perfect actually. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally indeed there. Also, likes out Bianca Belair. Batman 901 likes the build for Bianca Belair and Becky, as we've said already in the stream that we do as well. Also, at C Nation Doggers has heard a rumor will debut a new world championship. So if that's what's the point of the unification, I guess it would be just a new WWE championship that would look different and would be great for WWE shop because lots of people spend money on championships.
Yeah, I think I did right. I think it's just going to be a new design of a WWE championship, like the way they did the Undisputed a few years ago and stuff like that. And then when they first did the WWE championship in like 2012, 2013, I think that's all it'll be.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a nice little one coming here because, yes, it's playing up a little bit for me today. Mustafa Ali's hacking Steve's YouTube with all the freezers. Fair play to you on that one. And also saying that I'm using Impact's connection. Absolutely. Yeah, I suppose if people are willing to, it's usually $6.99 for Impact Plus, isn't it? So, yeah. We've gone through that one there. So let's have a look. Page return, possibly at WrestleMania. What's your thoughts on that idea?
I would love it. I would love that. And not just because I'm a Page fan, but just because that's the kind of thing, that's that big shocking return you need, I think. Especially like over 2 nights of Mania. Say, for example, like if it's night 2, I think night 2, perfect time to do it.
I think it would be as well. Yeah, would love to see her back in the WWE ring. Rick Mike also says 5 AEW wrestlers you want to see in WWE or NXT and 5 women WWE Impact you'd like to see. Goodness, who would you want to see? 5 wrestlers you want to see do a merry-go-round.
5 AEW wrestlers in WWE. I would love to see CM Punk back for one kind of like get his WrestleMania main event. So CM Punk, I would go with. I know he's not technically an AEW guy, but I would go with CM Punk. In terms of kind of more AEW guys, I'd love to see Jungle Boy, MJF, basically kind of the pillars, Britt Baker, and I would also love to see Sammy Guevara. so I go with them. Yeah,
basically the pillars. Yeah, I mean Darby Allin would be in there for me as well with those, so that would be definitely the shout there for ones that perhaps would go to AEW. I mean, I guess Cesaro, Swerve Scott would be 2 of them. Jeff Hardy we're expecting there anyway. To try and think of 2 more off the top of my head, I think I wouldn't mind seeing AJ Styles there one day if Kenny and the Bucks aren't going to come over. I think would be quite fun. And yeah, we'll have to see how it's going to go down. Really, I'm trying to think of a 5th one, but struggling. Warren, help me out.
I'd go Ricochet.
Ricochet, that's a great shout. Ricochet would be a perfect fit for there. And of course, Kevin Owens before he'd re-signed would have been fun as well. But there would have been some interesting ones. Underground Temple says Santos Escobar is faction on the main roster after Mania and have them against the Mysterios and give a swerve by Dominic turning heel with his father and joining Escobar. Love the fantasy booking.
That's amazing. That I never thought of that, and that's amazing. When I was reading that there, I was like, I'm all for that. That's a brilliant way to turn Dominic Mysterio heel, and then to get Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma on the main roster. I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Anyone from WWE watching this, book it. Simple as that. ROH buys William Regal buys Ring of Honor. That's an interesting prediction there. We'll see if that will come to fruition. We know ROH are making a return. I guess if William Regal's bank account is that big, why not go for it? Do some investment. Marge says, pick 5 legends you'd like to see in AEW work backstage, in your opinion, and also can be women as well. So who do you reckon could be a good experience to give for the younger superstars to go to AEW?
I think the first one I'd say would be Molly Holly. I think she'd be a great fit in there just to kind of help the women out, especially like the women's division. They have great wrestlers, but it's just not booked that great. And like, it just feels like it's lacking something. So I think Molly Holly, I would say the likes of Shawn Michaels. I don't think he'd be a good fit because he knows how he wants wrestling to work. And AEW is kind of, sometimes it feels like a televised PWG to me sometimes, which is good. It's an alternative, but I think them kind of older guys aren't into that. So, but I'd like to see Shawn Michaels there. Shawn Michaels, Molly Holly. I'll go with, let me see, Jamie Noble, the Hurricane, and Finlay.
Yeah, Finley was my first name that came to mind as well. I think he'd be really good for that as well. Like you say, Shane Helms as well would be another really fun one. Also, maybe like Jeremy Borash could be interesting. Obviously, he was
Oh
part of
yeah.
Impact back in the day. Maybe he could take someone like Abyss with him as well, because Sanjay Dutt is already there. Abyss is really good with those ideas of those sort of monsters ball matches. And if Matt Hardy ever wants to do these broken gimmick stuff again, I think you could all work together in that environment. And to give one more, I mean, I think Lita would be quite a useful one.
Yeah, I think that's just what, like, Lita's been around the block now. Like the way, as you said, the other guys there as well, Sanjay Dutt, Abyss, stuff like that. Them kind of guys. They any sort of, like, what would you say, brain box that's been around the business for so long, get them in AEW. It'll only help the company.
It certainly will. This is a fun suggestion from Jeffrey Sam. Get Ivory in also and have a Karen stable to help the spokesperson for Britt Baker. I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it actually would. She was like the original Karen if you go back to Right to Censor, so it makes perfect sense.
It certainly does indeed there. Underground also saying the idea of Mark Henry as Hobbs manager, Nation of Domination style faction AW of Hobbs, Keith Lee, Leo Rush, Lee Moriarty, Shane Strickland, and Jade Cargill. Man, that would dominate, wouldn't it?
That's a big name kind of faction that is. I can't see it happening now. I think a lot of the times, yeah, kind of people get lumped together, and it doesn't really work out, especially if you have something like that. That's a lot of big names on that. They can be big time players on their own as well. But yeah, it's definitely a faction that I can't see be beaten anyway.
Absolutely not. No, they definitely be going to the top of the card. There's no doubt about that. Medusa or Sarah Del Rey could be ideas for people that can help backstage in AEW. That's some good suggestions there. And one more question, then this will be the last question we'll take today. Martin says, what big twist and turn can really change WWE and the whole wrestling fans? I think Tony Khan being hashtag all WWE.
Wow, yeah, that would be crazy. That would genuinely blow my mind. But in terms of a big twist or turn, if you had something that big, anything I say can't compete with anyway. But I'd say maybe the only thing I could think is if they turned around, they were like maybe one episode of Raw or something. It got very not graphic, but something happened that's not too PG or not too PG-13, and they kind of went down that route a bit. That's the next kind of big thing I could possibly see. But Tony can be an all WWE mad one.
Yeah, it would be a mad one. And I think that's a great suggestion there as well, though. Like you say, go really just change the bar. And if not, it's the names. You mentioned Conor McGregor earlier, would be a game changer because as well, that would fit the philosophy as well. You're not going to keep Conor with a clean mouth in WWE.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. You'd be quick at winning the lotto, I'd say.
Absolutely. I think there'll be sponsors going left, right, and centre. But hey, he's gonna apologise to absolutely nobody. You know that's how it's going to go down. So, you know. But that's all the questions we're going to take for today. But Jeffrey says, thanks, guys. Good show. And I'm ready for the predictions. That'll be on Thursday. So make sure to check in on Thursday for that one. Make sure to do that there for you. That'll be an earlier time as well when that'll be on the channel also. Jeff says would hire Victoria and Tara there. So there's some good suggestions that have come in there for us. But that's pretty much all we've got for today. But before we go, Warren, please tell everyone where you can find you on YouTube.
So on YouTube, it's Discus Lariat Collective. And it's just like a weekly. I say weekly. I haven't done a video in quite some time now. Broke my fingers. So, yeah. So Discus Lariat Collective on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter, the Discus Lariat, and Instagram, Discus Lariat Collective. You can find me on all them.
Absolutely. And I can say, like, watching some of your videos, I think you've got some great insight, fantastic, like mind for what's going on professional wrestling, and also from the fan base as well. A really good video I saw was sort of like saying with the fan base sometimes can get a bit caught up in everything. I recommend people go and check it out. Some really strong opinions and great videos. So you can see today Warren knows his stuff. So go and subscribe to his channel. The link is in the description of this video. So simply just click on that. You go to his channel, hit the subscribe button, and while you're at it, watch a video as well. Do it, and you can see when new videos are released on his channel as well. I want to say a big thank you, Warren, for being on the channel as well. It's been great to have you on. I do apologize that there has been a few internet connections here, but hopefully that won't put you off too much coming on again in the future.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolute pleasure to be on here, Steve. Thanks very much for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. And just say a couple of things before we leave today. Jeff Sony says, thanks, guys. Good show. Thank you very much for checking it out. He did have one last question as well for us. He actually says that AEW hired Abyss as a trainer and then helped the wrestlers to have a creepy wrestler. I mean, that could be also, he could help the gimmicks out as well. We mentioned there, not just with the broken sort of matches. He could also help with those wrestlers also.
100%, yeah. A man who's wrestled under such a strong gimmick for such a long time. He'll only have the do's and don'ts ready for you.
Absolutely, absolutely indeed. Randy says, I think it's been talking about me being frozen. I think that, yeah, I'm probably off to Disney Plus after this. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, less about said about the better. And Randy also says, a good show. And Warren, the hair is metal. I like it. Yeah. Some good
Thanks
stuff
very much.
indeed there. Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for watching anyway. Like I said, I do apologize. There's been a little bit of internet connections and that. But if you do enjoy the video, please hit the thumb up as well. Drop a comment as well of anything that we've discussed today that you want to talk about more. Look forward to interacting with you in the comments. Tomorrow on the channel will be Impact Wrestling Sacrifice predictions. Will be dropping on the channel. Thursday, AEW Revolution, and hoping to do another live Q&A if the connection is helpful, then I will do it. And on Friday, looking to drop as well, just before the weekend, the New Day Fantasy Breakup, which everyone said that they wanted to see. That video is in the works, so that hopefully will be there. But thank you very much for watching. Martin with the last comment. Great show in the Q&A. Enjoyed your thoughts. Go subscribe to you both. I totally agree. Go subscribe to Warren now if you haven't already. Thank you, Martin, as well for your kind comment. But that's all from us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good one. You've been watching SCW Live. All the best.